What's up, fight fans? Thank you as always for passing by the channel. Much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. All right, as you guys know, I'm not home yet. I'm still in Lagos, Nigeria, but I was desperate to film, so I'm filming this off my Samsung phone. I've got a mic, so fingers crossed the picture and sound quality isn't too bad. It's fucking boiling here, so I've got the windows open, so fingers crossed all that shit that's going on outside doesn't spill inside and just destroy the sound quality of the video. If it does, apologies in advance. All right, let's get straight into it. I wanted to talk about Tony Bellew versus Alexander Usyk, a fight that goes down next week, MEN Arena. It's a massive fight, pay-per-view. I'm fucking livid that I'm not ringside, but I'm going to watch it because it's a good one. It's going to be a good one for a few rounds and only a few rounds. Look, you know me, I don't hold back. I think Alexander Usyk is way above Tony Bellew, and I mean way above. For me, he's a top 6, top 7 pound for pounder. He's cleaned up the cruiserweight division in about 5 fights. He's an amateur standout. He's a southpaw. He's tricky. He can box. He can punch. And eventually he might just go up to heavyweight and do some damage up there as well. That's what's in front of Tony Bellew. I don't see what Tony Bellew brings to the table in order to beat that. Everyone talks about grit, determination, willpower. How do we know Usyk doesn't have those things as well? I think Usyk has all of those things in bundles as well. So it's going to take something extremely special for Tony Bellew to beat Usyk, but there's a lot of things going against him. One is activity. Tony Bellew has only fought, what, twice in 2 years. That was at heavyweight. That's inactivity at its best, and that might cause a problem if it goes to the later rounds, which I don't think it will anyway. People have also spoken about the weight, in the sense that after the weigh-in, Tony Bellew will become big again and be the bigger man in the ring, and that's a positive. I don't see it as a positive, I see it as a negative. Tony Bellew has been a heavyweight, and a comfortable heavyweight, for 2 years. He's now had to shed all that weight into his mid-30s to make cruiser. That wouldn't have been easy. Trust me, he's been very comfortable at that heavyweight, hence why he's asked for fights against Tyson Fury and other heavyweights, because he didn't want to come back down. But the bigger problem is Usyk himself. He's been fighting the better opposition in the last 2-3 years. He's been very active. Usyk has had, I think, what, 10 fights in the last 3 years compared to Bellew's 2 fights in 2 years. He's been fighting guys that are live, and when I say live, I mean guys that are not like David Haye, who have all the body but simply have no engine. He's been fighting guys that have engines. He's been fighting guys that are world champions, guys that are unbeaten. That's what Usyk has been coming up against, and that's what Usyk has been dealing with quite comfortably. It is a massive ask for Tony Bellew. Look, I don't want to write Tony Bellew off, because I did that against David Haye and he proved me wrong. But this isn't David Haye. This is Alexander Usyk. This is a completely different level of fighter. I saw an interview with Johnny Nelson where he said that technically, Bellew is better than Usyk. What? What? How can you technically be better than Usyk, who has an outstanding record as an amateur? That's when you learn your technique and is unbeaten as a pro. What is Johnny Nelson talking about? I'm guessing he's doing this because he has to do it for Sky, but come on, Johnny. Don't let yourself down. That's embarrassing. The one shot Bellew has is he can punch. I think we saw that against David Haye. We've seen it in his other fights as well. Bellew can punch. If Bellew lands clean, you never know. But I said the same thing about Gassiev. I admit Bellew moves a bit better than Gassiev, but I put money on that Gassiev hits harder than Bellew. But if Bellew lands clean, then you never know. But that's all I'm giving him, a puncher's chance. I actually think Usyk might embarrass him a bit with his movement, with his punch output, with his kind of awkward in and out style. He is very, very awkward. Let's not forget, Gassiev versus Usyk was supposed to be 50-50. Usyk won nearly every single round. That's what Bellew is dealing with. But this is the bomber we're talking about. You never know. I do know he isn't going to win this one. I want him to win this one. I love the idea, the Cinderella story. A guy that really came from nothing to become the cruiserweight champion, the unified cruiserweight champion of the world. It's a fantastic story, but not this story. Unfortunately, Usyk will win this one either mid to late rounds or wide points decision. Trust me.